And this started with the movie star Rachel Zegler, who I believe would be categorized as a loudmouth dope.
It was supposed to come out like a year and a half ago. And then we went after them so hard because of their variety of ridiculous sins that they actually went into full-scale reshoots on Snow White.
Bestie, grab your popcorn because this story is wild.
This path that I'm taking right now is the path that Rachel Zegler should have taken instead of just running her mouth for the last 3 years, which we are going to get into now.
Rumors are spiraling out of control that Rachel Zegler, yes, the live-action Snow White herself, may have leaked private emails from Gal Gadot, her very own co-star and Disney's evil queen.
Gal Gadot's Snow White is now listed as one of the worst films in history. Right now it has a 1.5. Okay, this isn't looking good. I would say this is even in fact looking bad.
If you thought the dwarfs were the only drama in this fairy tale reboot, you're in for a full-on royal scandal. This isn't just tabloid fluff. This is the kind of behind-the-scenes tea that makes publicists cry, studios panic, and careers hang in the balance. And if what's being whispered in back channels is even a little bit true, the Snow White remake might go down as one of the most chaotic productions Disney has ever touched.
And it's looking even worse if we check the box office, with an almost 70% week-to-week drop, making it unlikely the movie will cover its production budget and absolutely impossible to ever break even.
And given that the Snow White box office metrics are still not working in Disney's favor and showing no sign of a resolution in sight,
now let's back it up. Because you know this didn't come out of nowhere. Rachel and Gal were supposed to be the perfect duo. Disney rolled out the casting like a victory parade. Rachel Zegler as the iconic princess with a modern twist, and Gal Gadot bringing the fierce energy of the evil queen. Fans were intrigued. The press was hyped. The marketing team was ready to sell tiaras and eyeliner for days. But behind all the curated smiles and rehearsed sound bites, something was already off. If you looked closely, the red flags were everywhere. Subtle shade, awkward interviews, and that now infamous silence that grew louder every time one of them posted without mentioning the other.
You don't particularly see people who, look like me or are me playing roles like that. So it was definitely when it got announced.
He wasn't a stalker, by the way.
Thing that was like trending on Twitter for days because all of the people were angry.
At first, the drama was quiet, sneaky, the kind of passive-aggressive energy that only true media-trained celebs can serve with a straight face. But fans? Oh, they noticed. They always do. People started picking up on the energy shift during early press events. While Gal gave her usual polished, glamorous queen vibes, Rachel's energy was different. She came in loud, opinionated, and full of bold takes about how the original Snow White needed to be modernized and corrected. It didn't sit well with a lot of people, but allegedly Gal was one of the first to voice her concerns behind closed doors. Then came the interviews. Rachel, speaking confidently about the changes in the story, made multiple remarks that were read as digs at the original tale, and, by extension, her co-star's more traditional portrayal of the evil queen.
It was supposed to come out like a year and a half ago. And then we went after them so hard because of their variety of ridiculous sins that they actually went into full-scale reshoots on Snow White when we announced that we had a competitor.
During one sit-down when asked about Gal's performance, Rachel gave a smirk and said she definitely made a choice, followed by an awkward laugh that had the internet screaming, "Girl, did you just throw shade?" Meanwhile, Gal kept it classy and completely silent. No tags, no behind-the-scenes selfies, not even a birthday shout-out. In the world of celeb PR, silence is not golden. It's war.
It was the first animated film that had the kind of Disney magic that had depth, that had absolute, it was riveting. And it's based, of course, on a Brothers Grimm story, and people loved that film.
The internet didn't wait for confirmation. As Rachel continued to post about the film, celebrating her performance, hyping up the new direction for Snow White, fans were quick to point out that Gal was always mysteriously absent from the praise. One particularly bold Reddit thread titled, "Did Rachel just ice out Gal Gadot?" gained over 20,000 upvotes in under a day, with fans dissecting every quote, every caption, every photo crop. Then came the Oscars snub. Rachel posted a glamorous carousel celebrating her Snow White journey and thanking the cast and crew, but conveniently skipped right over Gal's name. Not even a passing mention. It was noticeable, especially since Gal was not only her co-star, but also the biggest name attached to the film. By this point, the fandom was fully divided. Team Rachel versus Team Gal was trending, and even entertainment reporters were starting. to ask questions. The narrative was spinning out of control, and Disney, silent as ever.
Snow White is the first American feature-length animated movie, 1937. It's one of the most beloved movies of all time.
And then came the moment that sent everything into a tailspin, the alleged leak. Out of nowhere, screenshots surfaced on anonymous forums. Alleged private emails supposedly written by Gal Gadot, venting her frustrations with the Snow White production. The tone, sharp. The message, crystal clear. One of the most viral quotes read, "I've tried to express my concerns respectfully, but I no longer feel heard on set." Another said, "The tone of the film has shifted, and not for the better." And girl, the internet lost its mind. What made it even messier? Rumors began swirling that the leak originated from someone close to Rachel, possibly even Rachel herself. Now, let's be real, there's zero hard evidence tying Rachel to the leak. It's all speculation. But when the internet gets a story like this, receipts or not, the court of public opinion moves fast. Suddenly, headlines weren't just talking about a Snow White flop. They were calling it a catfight, a feud, a betrayal. What started as a tense work relationship had now exploded into one of the messiest PR disasters Disney's faced in years.
Even if everything worked perfectly, it would have been almost impossible for this movie to succeed because you're comparing it to one of the most beloved films of all time and a truly groundbreaking movie.
So let's talk receipts, because the internet's FBI-level sleuthing skills were fully activated once the feud rumors hit. When Rachel posted that heartfelt Snow White tribute in March, fans expected the usual Hollywood fluff, group hugs, glowing words about her co-stars, and some kind of cute shout-out to Gal, right? Wrong. She poured her heart out about falling in love with the cast, tagged nearly everyone involved. But not Gal Gadot. Not a word. Not a mention. Not even a passive-aggressive everyone who made this special. And let's be clear, Gal was there. This wasn't a case of her skipping the premiere or ghosting the project. She was front and center on that red carpet, looking every inch the villainous queen. So the snub didn't go unnoticed. It screamed volumes. Even gossip columns started reporting that Rachel had deliberately excluded Gal, and fans flooded the comments like, "Where's Gal, sis?" That post alone lit the match, and everything since has been gasoline.
Snow White 2.2, Dragon Ball Evolution is 2.5. Well, maybe this means we're going to be getting an apology from Disney after all. That would be pretty funny if that happened. Now, I don't know if it would, but it would be really funny if it did.
Now, fast forward to the Snow White premiere. You'd think Disney would have both leading ladies linked arm in arm, giving us that sisterly sparkle, smiling through the rumors like it's all love and light. But no, Rachel and Gal showed up looking flawless separately. They didn't pose together, no shared interviews, no red carpet moment to shut down the rumors. Just two stars on opposite sides of the promo universe, orbiting each other awkwardly like the drama wasn't about to explode. Photos of them barely making eye contact spread like wildfire. Tabloids ran with headlines like "all smiles, all lies," and fans were quick to point out that even when they were in the same shot, there was an energy gap you could drive a truck through. Behind the glam, people were asking, was this feud just awkward tension, or a full-blown PR nightmare Disney was trying to cover with forced smiles?
As an actor, you don't get to dictate anything. You don't get to dictate if a film actually happens. You don't get to dictate when it is shot, how it is shot, if you can ever speak about it to the public. You are simply just there to show up and say your lines and look the way they want you to look.
Here's where it gets even juicier. After the alleged email leak stirred the pot online, neither Rachel nor Gal released a direct statement. Instead, what we got was a string of vague Instagram stories, passive-aggressive quotes, and very carefully worded captions. One of Rachel's posts said, "Let people talk. You know your truth," while Gal posted a quote from a poem about betrayal that fans instantly connected to the leaked emails. Coincidence? Please. Disney, of course, tried to stay above it all. They pushed out a few generic promo clips and hoped everyone would focus on the magic of the movie. But girl, when your leading ladies are giving you cold shoulder couture, the internet is gonna talk. At this point, fans were divided between thinking Rachel was a bold diva who didn't care who she offended, and those who thought Gal was a class act trying to keep things together while dealing with a chaotic co-star. Either way, the narrative had completely shifted, and the focus was no longer the film, it was the feud.
The original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on their love story, with a guy who literally stalks her.
Say it louder so your other eye can hear you.
By late March, the whispers had turned into full-on speculation. Would Disney even work with either of them again after this? One insider claimed the studio was disappointed with how the press tour played out. Another source hinted that execs were considering cutting promo funding entirely due to the negativity. But the biggest jaw-dropper? A blind item that suggested one of the two stars had been told privately that this would be their last Disney project. Now, no names were mentioned, but with the email leak drama, the IG snubs, the awkward red carpet vibes, and the rumors of internal complaints, all eyes were on Rachel. The feud had taken on a life of its own, and the audience wasn't just watching a movie, they were watching a meltdown.
That was the budget before promotion was $270.
Okay.
The promotion budget I just read was $230.
So $500 million.
Correct.
At this point, the fanbase was no longer just watching, they were investigating. Twitter threads started charting the timeline of the feud like a true crime documentary. YouTube videos dropped daily with titles like Rachel's Diva Behavior, Exposed, and The Truth About Gal Gadot's Silence. People pulled receipts from months ago, screenshots, TikTok clips, behind-the-scenes footage, old tweets, anything that hinted at tension. One post even zoomed in on a blink and you miss it red carpet moment, where Gal steps back as Rachel tries to greet her. Fans were analyzing body language like it was the Zapruder film. But here's where it gets even wilder. Fans started comparing Rachel's past co-star drama to this current feud. Some even accused her of being difficult on previous sets. Whether that was fair or just internet hysteria didn't matter. The narrative was already spiraling, and with no one stepping in to shut it down, the internet crowned their queen and villain.
It's no longer 1937, and we absolutely wrote a Snow White. That is
not
going to be saved by
You
the
wrote
prince.
it?
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be.
Behind the scenes, Disney was reportedly in crisis mode. The press tour had become a PR disaster. The film was struggling to escape backlash, and suddenly all the media buzz was about the off-screen feud, not the movie. According to industry gossip, executives were caught off guard by just how viral the Gal versus Rachel saga had become. Some sources claim the studio canceled additional joint interviews, hoping to prevent more awkwardness. Others say internal memos were sent, warning staff not to discuss cast tension publicly. Disney allegedly even debated releasing a joint statement from both actresses to do damage control. But surprise, it never happened, and the silence just added more fuel to the fire. Some insiders said Rachel was too emotional to issue anything scripted, while Gal's team reportedly didn't want her name further attached to the drama. So the feud stayed messy and very, very public.
And this started with the movie star Rachel Zegler, who I believe would be categorized as a loudmouth dope.
As the situation snowballed, fans noticed something else. Rachel's name started quietly disappearing from upcoming Snow White content. Disney began pushing more solo Gal Gadot clips, more Queen-focused teaser spots, and fewer joint features. One major promo montage included every main character except Rachel. And that's when the rumors started again. Was Rachel being iced out by the studio? Entertainment blogs ran with it. One article headlined "From Star to Scandal. Has Disney turned on Rachel Zegler?" claimed that insiders saw the move as a soft phase-out. Not a firing, not a cancellation, just a slow, silent withdrawal of support. A way to scrub the controversy while still cashing in. And honestly, it wouldn't be the first time a studio did that. Quiet distancing is Hollywood's favorite move when the heat gets too intense.
No, the people who you need to entertain, the people who you need to serve, the people who pay your salary.
Even as the film's release faded from the spotlight, the drama didn't. Fans kept the feud alive with memes, edits, and constant updates. TikToks mocked the awkwardness. Instagram gossip pages were still posting cryptic quotes that fans believed were about the feud. And Reddit, still theorizing everything from personality clashes to secret NDAs. But the biggest twist? A resurfaced clip from an old interview where Rachel talked about how she handles toxic energy on set. In it, she says, "You don't need to call it out. Just remove yourself." Fans took that as a dig, either at Gal or at Disney. Maybe both. The feud had evolved into something bigger. It wasn't just a spat, it had become a symbol of studio politics, of clashing personalities, and of how quickly a star can go from rising to reeling in Hollywood.
Our rights are on the line, folks.
The right to buy Cosby sweaters?
Come on.
That's the face of a
Probably.
serial killer.
And if you disagree with the sentiment, just hit the unfollow button.
When the drama started, Rachel Zegler still had a shot at bouncing back. But as the weeks rolled on and the headlines stacked up, the narrative only got messier. Every time she posted something inspirational, fans turned it into a meme. Every red carpet photo got side-eyed. And the comments? Brutal. Words like overrated, hard to work with, and attention seeker started showing up more and more. Even her loyal fanbase seemed torn. Some defended her fiercely, claiming she was being unfairly targeted by a misogynistic media machine. Others admitted that her interviews came off as self-important, and that her behavior, intentional or not, kept fueling the fire. Meanwhile, her team stayed scrambling. Scheduled appearances were rescheduled. That rumored Netflix deal, under review. Suddenly, Rachel went from being Disney's rising star to the actress whose name studios were whispering with caution.
This path that I'm taking right now is the path that Rachel Zegler should have taken instead of just running her mouth for the last 3 years, which we are going to get into now.
Now, let's talk about Gal. While Rachel's every move made headlines, Gal kept it cool. No rants, no shady tweets, just curated Instagram content, press-approved quotes, and an air of elegance that made her look above it all. And it paid off. Gal landed 2 new brand partnerships, was rumored to be in talks for a major action franchise reboot, and even got praise for not engaging in the drama. The same silence that once seemed cold, now it was called graceful, professional, and mature. In a world where every celeb clapback gets screenshotted and judged, Gal's silence was her power move. And while Rachel was stuck doing damage control, Gal had already left the feud in the rearview mirror and moved on to bigger things.
And it's looking even worse if we check the box office, with an almost 70% week-to-week drop, making it unlikely the movie will cover its production budget and absolutely impossible to ever break even.
And given that the Snow White box office metrics are still not working in Disney's favor and showing no sign of a resolution in sight,
the Snow White remake was supposed to be about reinvention. A bold new princess, a modern fairy tale, and a cast that would bring the story to life in a fresh, powerful way. Instead, it turned into a PR nightmare. Reviews were mixed at best. Box office numbers flopped. And what should have been a cultural moment became a case study in what not to do when casting stars with clashing energies. Insiders now say that Disney has started reevaluating its approach to future remakes. Less focus on online buzz, more focus on internal chemistry. Because one thing became painfully clear: you can't fake chemistry. Not in press tours, not in premieres, and definitely not on screen.
Gal Gadot Snow White is now listed as one of the worst films in history. Right now it has a 1.5. Okay, this isn't looking good. I would say this is even in fact looking bad.
And now we're left with the aftermath. Rachel, still posting, still pushing, still trying to reclaim the narrative, but the shadow of this feud follows her. And until she addresses it head-on, if she ever does, it's going to linger. Like glitter on a red carpet. Gal, untouched, unbothered, quietly winning. And the rest of us, watching, waiting, wondering if there's more to this story we haven't seen yet. Because if Rachel really did leak those emails, or even just knew about them, the fallout might not be over, not by a long shot.
You don't particularly see people who, look like me or are me playing roles like that. So it was definitely, when it got announced,
She wasn't a stalker, by the way.
thing that was like trending on Twitter for days because all of the people were angry.
Does Disney bring either of them back? Will Rachel get her redemption arc? Or is this the start of a very long Hollywood timeout? Time will tell. But if there's one thing we've learned from this whole scandal, it's this: being the fairest of them all doesn't matter when the tea is this hot. So what do you think? Was Rachel set up? Was Gal too cold? Did Disney mishandle everything from the start? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I'm seriously dying to know what side you're on. And if you loved this breakdown, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and ring the bell so you're always the first to know when the next wave of celebrity drama hits. Because baby, in Hollywood, the tea never stops brewing.